Hey there, it's Brittany Chavers and I am back with Jesse James Beads today, and we are going to make a fun bangle using the Magical Mystery Bead Box from October, which was down the rabbit hole. So Alice in Wonderland inspired, and we're going to be making a fun memory wire charm bangle. So I have a piece of memory wire. I didn't really measure it. It's just about almost 2 coils. I'm going to be using this wonderful strand. It was all metal, and I'm going to be using several components from the box to make the charm. So we have the off with their heads strand. I have down the rabbit hole mix. I have the tea party mix. And we are going to make some great charms and hang them on a bracelet. This is pretty beginner friendly project, so let's get started. I'm going to open up my strand, and from this strand I am going to use this wonderful Queen of Hearts charm, playing card charm. I am going to use a flower, a heart, and possibly one of these flower balls. I'm going to put the rest to the side for now. The tea party mix, I'm going to grab a little teapot. It says tea time on it. From down the rabbit hole, I am going to grab a harlequin patterned bead. I am going to grab a bunny, and then the key. And we might use some of the other beads throughout this, but I'm not quite sure yet. I'm going to grab a couple bead caps just in case that's something I want to incorporate, and if I need any of these rhinestone spacers. I also have a set of jump rings and some ball head pins. So to make my charms, whether it's a bead or something that's already a charm, I'm going to grab a ball head pin, stick it through, and for this one I'm going to put on a rhinestone spacer on the top. Take my round nose pliers and do a wire wrapped loop on the top. So I will go ahead and bend that back, reposition my pliers, bend it forward, so now there's a half of a loop, and then I will pull that towards the back. Now we see there's a bit of a neck here. I don't want that, so I'm just going to curl forward and then grab that loop with my pliers, and then just take the remaining wire and wrap it around itself. If you can't do that with your fingers, you can just use another pair of pliers to do that. I'm just going to snip my excess wire there, and now we have a little harlequin charm. Super cute. I'm going to do that same technique using my flower, but I'm not going to put a metal bead on top. I'm just going to make the flower a charm. For this one, I'll show you how to take and wrap that tail with a pair of pliers instead of your fingers. Just kind of grab the end of the wire with your pliers and rotate. And you can do it messy, you can do it uniform, whatever floats your boat. And I'm going to do one more wrap and then snip. We want to snip that tail towards the back of the bead. Okay, so now we have a little charm. For our little key, for our bunny, for our Queen of Hearts, I'm going to just use a jump ring, and then I will make sure to and for our teapot, we'll use jump rings. These two I'll make into charms using the same method. The hole in the heart is much larger than the ball on the ball head pin, so I went into the down the rabbit hole bead mix and grabbed one of these little aluminum roses, and I'm just going to put that on the bottom, and that'll be a larger stopper for our heart. I also found these little charms in that mix, so we might incorporate those as well. All right, I've kind of laid out the design I'd like my charms to hang. And then you can decide whether or not you wanted to do this as a mixed metal bracelet or if you just want it to be all silver or all gold. I'm gonna do mixed metal because this strand is mixed metal. I'm going to cut it open. I'm gonna slide all these beads off of my strand and kind of keep them in the same order. And then I'm going to grab my memory wire and I'll do a double loop at one end. So I'm going to take my round nose pliers, place my memory wire between the two mandrels and then bend back, and I'm just going to roll that wire twice into 2 loops. So there's the first loop, and then I'm going to go so that there are 2 loops and it almost looks like a split ring, and that keeps beads from coming off a little more than it would typically if you didn't do a split ring type loop. Make sure once you cut this, you're using memory wire cutters. We don't want to ruin our nice nippers with memory wire because it's much harder than regular wire. I'm just going to start loading on beads. The one thing I do want to do before we start making is add jump rings to all of the charms that don't already have a jump ring. So these 4 playing card charms all had jump rings. This playing card charm had a jump ring, but I'm going to put a jump ring on everything else as well. We'll just slide those open by twisting instead of pulling. And you can even, if you want your charms to hang down a little bit further, you can even put on another jump ring. You can do double jump rings. Now I'm going to start loading my beads and my charms onto my memory wire. So I'm going to start with this little ball here and then go from there. And I'm making sure that I'm putting the charms all on in the same direction. So the jump ring is going to be facing me, the charm is going to be facing away. This is a fun bead. It's got crystals on the inside. And I'm just putting on my charms where I feel like they look cute. And here we are at half of the bracelet. So cute, so much going on. This is a great like fidget toy for those of us who like to fidget with our jewelry. And I've come to almost the end of my charms, but I still have tons of beads in my mixes and things like that. So I'm going to make some more charms. I'm going to make another rose. I'm going to make another harlequin, maybe another heart, and we'll be able to finish up this really fun bracelet. All my beads and charms are loaded onto my bracelet, and this is just such a sparkly, fun piece. I remember my grandmother used to play bridge. I think she would have really enjoyed this bracelet. And I am just going to finish off the ends the exact same way that we did the other side. I'm going to cut just a little bit less than, probably about less than an inch, maybe 3/4 of an inch, so we can do 2 loops. We don't want to do it too tight. If we wrap the bracelet too tight, it won't flow on your wrist too well, kind of like if you were using stringing wire as well. So I'm just going to go and make a double loop like we did on the other side. There we go. And you could wear it like this. This is a little stiff. I think the charms aren't charming well. They're not hanging well, so I did it a little too tight. What I'm going to do is just loosen that a little bit, and as I loosen it, you'll see that the charms and beads start flowing a little bit better. So they're just that tiny bit. They're now moving better. And if you'd like, you can come in from the other side and loosen as well, because I do want this side to have more, to be looped a little bit more. And we want to trim off that excess wire there because it will catch on your clothing or your skin at some point. Here we go. And then I'm going to loosen this side just a little bit. So these are the troubleshooting tips that you need to have when you make a bracelet like this. So now everything's moving really smoothly. The beads aren't too tight, and we can see that the bracelet is malleable instead of just really stiff. Now you can wear the bracelet exactly like this. You could just put it on your wrist and go. But what I suggest, and what is really fun for me, is I grabbed a Jesse James Beads clasp from my stash. This one happened to match by having a heart on it. I'm just gonna grab a couple jump rings, and I am going to put that on. So now we've made a clasping memory wire bracelet. And you just close it. And you've got yourself a one-of-a-kind charm bangle. Turn it this way. See all our fantabulous little charms. And this is going to be a showstopper. Look how shiny it is. Look how blingy it is. It's so much fun. Used a ton of beads, but we still have a ton left from all the mixes. I love it. I hope you loved it too. Thanks to Jesse James Beads for having me back, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye. Look at that little tongue hanging out. It's because she's missing so many teeth now. You're so cute. Yeah, that little tongue. You're cutie. We love you.